Welcome to Courage on the Rocks, a space where stories flow like a good glass of whiskey. We're two best friends pulling back the curtain on all the conversations that usually happen behind closed doors.
From grief and love to dating, friendship, motherhood, and all the chaos of life in your 30s. We're diving into it all with honesty, humor, and a splash of courage.
This podcast is about real stories, ours, yours, and the incredible people we'll meet along the way. Whether you're here for inspiration, a fresh perspective, or just to hear from someone who gets it, we're glad you're with us.
So grab your favorite drink, hit play, and join us as we navigate the highs, the lows, and everything in between, one episode at a time. Welcome to episode 4.
Welcome!
Yay! We made it. Cheers.
Oh, cheers
to us.
Liana made us some special drinks.
Yeah. Thank you, TikTok.
We'll see if she's even good at making drinks. Oh, okay. It really does!
Actually, it's not bad at all.
It tastes like a apple Jolly Rancher.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
So,
a Crown Royale, green apple, and Sprite.
That's it. And it actually tastes pretty good.
It's a good one today.
Yeah, it's a good one. So we have a lot to talk about. Do we want to fight in front of them? Do we want to
I was almost going to get murdered by Mariah.
I'm not. Whoa. That's strong.
Okay.
And aggressive.
I almost got demoted to friend.
Absolutely no, not even. But it got a little feisty.
Yeah.
Leon and I don't fight ever. We don't fight. There's no arguments. There's I never get irritated at her,
Except for Thursday
this week. I was like, oh my God.
And I knew it because she called a couple of times like, oh shit, voice is getting madder and madder. She doesn't want to say fuck you, but she is going to be saying it.
What? No, I won't.
Yeah.
I think you were sensing it. I was very good.
Yeah.
Right? I think I said that I'm irritated with you. But I think you said something like, I am feeling the animosity and I hear you.
I hear your frustration.
There it is.
I acknowledge your pain.
That you caused.
Yeah. So we had trouble uploading. Computer, exporting. The Sound One audio podcast worked fine. The YouTube, I hate YouTube.
Me too.
Fucking hate it.
Me too.
But we're going to get it down.
Now, correction. She is going to
I'm going to
do her hosting job.
Do my job as a co-host. Yes, I will. I learned. I ChatGPT it.
Yeah.
It's going to work.
Although with that said, we do realize that is his own issue. But today, I realized there was a second issue that Leona has been expressing to me, and I have misunderstood this entire time.
I was like, okay, fine.
No. Which was the fact that our YouTube video looks like straight up dog shit.
The quality is not there.
It's not supposed to be like that. If you see us on Instagram, that's the quality it's supposed to be looking like.
Yeah, it's like, wow, it's cinematic. It looks great.
Yeah, you don't see it, but we have professional lighting in here. It's meant to look good, right?
Warm and cozy and
looking good, right? We're amateur, by the way. I mean, we are amateur, but our video on Instagram looks like we are. What's below amateur? We shouldn't be doing this.
Our YouTube will get there.
Leona should just slap me in the face the first time she said it, and you're like, you're not listening. We look disgusting.
You were like, you look great. And I'm like, okay, I'm not going to say anything.
No, we don't.
So if you know anything about YouTube video, please message us.
We have a theory on what's happening.
Yeah.
So I just want what you're saying because we acknowledge
our pain
and our
learning curve.
We have a massive learning curve now. Yeah. And I think that learning curve would, for so many people, stop them from trying anymore.
Oh yeah.
Right? I think I joke because I think we have 13 people who watched our YouTube one. After looking at that video, I don't blame you guys. I would
these girls.
Somebody help
Mom's
them.
basement video.
God. Yeah, anyways. But, like, things like that would deter a lot of people from, like, trying
absolutely.
anymore.
Yeah.
Or the fact that, like, I actually listened to our last episode, and I almost couldn't because I am noticing how many I do and how many likes, to the point where I'm about to lose my shit. I think there's a game we're gonna play, and maybe the next one or the one after. I was thinking of, like, giving us both water guns.
Oh yeah.
And then you get to squirt me in the face every time I say Like, it's like learning in the moment of, like, learning not to do it.
Yeah.
But
using other words as
other
other filler words.
Right? As we should, because we are communication majors.
What?
Should be so much better than this.
Stancy's going to take our degree from us.
Right. Not, because we're actually using it, unlike a lot of people.
That's true too.
Right?
Yeah.
But I also realized, though, I do that when I'm processing in front of people. Right?
That makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a pausing moment for your brain.
It is a pausing moment because I'm still processing it internally, and then I'm trying to process that as I verbalize it. So it's really hard to not say likes or ums or do any of that.
Yeah.
When it's, like, also really intense things.
It's also a way our brain to think about, what did I just say? How is that going to be taken? And how do I respond next?
Oh, totally.
And then also put a camera in front of us as we're doing this.
Yeah. So, as we said in the first podcast, and I'm going to keep saying it probably for the rest of eternity while this exists, give us grace, and we are giving the example of what it's like to just keep going and try. And I actually received a text from a good friend of mine, Eliza. I don't know if you've met her, maybe. But she sent a message saying, like, how much she loved episode 3, and she was so excited for us and, like, excited to watch us grow.
Yeah.
And that's really cool because, like, we got a follower this week.
95.
Yeah, we have 95 followers.
Yes.
And, like, that's like, depending on how you want to look at it, like, it could be small, but it could be really great because, like, we're four episodes in.
95 accounts that are checking in.
That have chosen to support us.
Yeah.
And that in itself, it just feels really nice, and we appreciate you. And if you were that one follower, like, thank you for the hype this week. But yeah, we love the hype.
Yes.
So, Liana's gonna transition us.
Oh. So this is episode 4. We are talking about first dates. Ooh, let's get into the tea of it.
Let's drink. Yes.
First dates.
Yeah. What is Crown Royal? That's not whiskey. It's is that whiskey?
Yeah.
I should know that.
Type of whiskey. So first dates. We thought this episode would be fun to kind of, bring our listeners into our current life and what's going on. So we're going to be talking about first dates, the jitters of it, the excitements of it, the experiences that we've had, and our learning curve from it.
Yeah, for sure.
So I don't know.
Yeah, can you tell us about your first date with Chris?
Many of our listeners are probably aware of. Chris and I have been dating for 2 years now. We started dating back in February. The weekend after my birthday was the very first one where we sent a message to each other. He sent this corny, I can't remember. I swear I thought I took a screenshot of it. Aww. It was so funny and it was so cute. Corny, bit about, like, wanting to take me out. And I was like, okay, this is cute. Good response. And I said yes to it.
Good start.
Good start.
I'm sorry, what was this on?
Hinge.
There we go.
Keyword. Yeah. Hinge. Downloaded Hinge. Yes. So we met on Hinge. We messaged. And then I think the following weekend, or maybe a weekend after, we went out to our very first date to 10 Pins, which is in Turlock, a bowling one. And
like, raise your hand if you've ever went on a bowling date, because I feel like that is super common, not in a bad way, but they're super fun.
It's cute. It's a great, I love the idea of it because being physically active and bowling and eating, drinking, and
sticking
great
your
atmosphere.
Fingers in holes.
Oh yeah, there you go. That was not done yet.
The bowling ball.
Our parents listened to
us. You're the one who went there.
Anyways,
the bowling ball.
Anyways, so 10 pins. We got there. He was so nervous. It was cute. We were both kind of nervous and meeting each other. We got there. He had booked a session. We were waiting for a little bit. We got our lane and started bowling. And mind you, I'm not a professional bowler. I don't think I've been bowling for a long time. So I was like, he's going to kick my ass.
I don't think a lot of people are professional bowlers. Just going to...
Actually, it's a sport.
Yeah. Well, yeah. But
okay.
Is it a sport? Is bowling a sport?
We're not getting into that conversation.
Just saying. You need at least sweat for it to be a sport.
Anyways, so we did the first round, and I knew he was nervous about it because he lost. And we had talked about conversation, how we were super competitive people on dates. I'm just going to, be myself. I kicked his ass in bowling. And I was like, oh, maybe it's just nervousness. And then we played another round, kicked his ass again in bowling.
It was really bad.
Yeah. But it was really cute. We got some food.
Are you sure drinks. He wasn't just letting you in?
Okay, so that's what I thought too. After the second win, I was like, God, he's such a kind person for letting me win. So sweet.
You would like that?
Yeah, I was
for him to let you win, you would have liked that?
Just out of curiosity, But then the third round of it came. I was like, are you really trying? Are you he's like, no, I'm dead ass trying. Me trying does not my night bowling.
My God. You're like, hey, you don't have to let me win.
You don't have to let me win all of them. Just some of them.
Dang.
And he lost again. But it was cute. We had great conversations.
Wow.
I think that was the biggest thing for me. It was the dynamic of just having conversations, sitting down, being calm and relaxed. And then we ended the night on one last round of it, me kicking his ass again.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go bowling with you now.
I'm badass at it now.
You're a badass at it
now?
So maybe you were always good. You just didn't know until you were people who weren't as good. Yeah.
Surrounded myself with someone who wasn't good.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
Dang. I actually went on a first date recently and we went to 10 pins. I was actually thinking about you as we did it.
Yeah.
He did not let me win.
Good job. Because if anyone knows her.
If you let me win, I'll be so pissed. Because that's not winning to me. For me. Yeah. You won. Yeah,
I did.
For me, I want to fight for that shit. And then I want to feel really good about kicking your ass, right? But no, I'm really bad at it, and I didn't realize that. But it is a great first date, and I love that you guys did that.
Yeah, and then for our first anniversary, we went back to celebrate over there, and it was great. He kicked my ass the first round, and then,
Then you came back.
And then I was like, oh, no, now we're really competing.
Now I remember this.
Now I remember this.
Right? You're like, you know what? I let you win.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, exactly, to make you feel better.
Yeah, right.
Make you feel good about yourself.
Dang.
Yeah.
So... Wow.
That was my first date.
And you said he was really nervous, but were you freaking out?
A little bit. Because funny enough, okay, so I had turned 29 on the week before.
That's a good thing to point out. Yeah.
And I was like, and I had been on dating apps for a couple of years and deleting them, downloading again.
Going through the
whole cycle
emotional
of
torment.
Fucking online dating. Yeah. So then I was like, on my 29th birthday, I said, this is it. I'm going to give it one more year and then fuck the world, fuck everything. I'm just going to live my life.
Traveling the world, selling my house.
I'm going to get a cat and live my life. Which, funny enough, I did adopt a cat too.
Yeah.
But I celebrated my birthday with that in mind. And literally the next week, I had this date. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy how, a God wink, as my mom would say.
Oh.
Yeah.
Mom, that's so cute.
Yeah, how that
happened. God week. Yeah. Well, it's also interesting because I feel like that's kind of how it works a little bit is you're trying so hard. You're looking. It's not coming your way. And then when you're like, you know what? I'm going to live my life the way I want to live my life. Yeah. And then if someone wants to come along into that, I will happily accept. But I am not going to live my life solely focused on that one thing.
Oh, yeah. And I think that was definitely my perspective when I was 28 turning 29. Yeah. This whole frustration of I needed to move on.
Yeah.
I was waiting for someone to buy a house. I was waiting someone to start a family. I was waiting for someone to do all these things. And I was like, fuck it.
Yeah.
It's a good market. I have, I can do it.
It's not a good market
it's
for
not
men,
a good market.
but it's a good market for a house.
Right?
I'll buy that.
I'm going to buy a house instead.
Can't buy a man, but can't buy a house.
Exactly. So, yeah, that just happened like that. And it's funny. I gave up, and then all of a sudden, he walked in.
Well, I didn't say we didn't give up. You didn't give up.
True. I didn't give up. But I was just like, I'm letting it go.
Content too.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And like, hey, this is my life. Like,
yeah, this is me.
Yeah, which I think says a lot because for so many years prior to that, it wasn't like that at all. And it took time and learning and growth and experiences to be like, you know what, I'm just gonna sit with me, and I really like me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And then someone was like, I really like Leanna too. Let me get a little piece of that.
He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
She's not too bad. So.
Dang.
Yeah. So that was my first date with Chris. Been happy since.
I love that. When you go on your first date and it's so cool to not know that that's your last first date.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's interesting because as you're beginning your process, I remember all the jitters of mine of going through another first date or seeing someone else or showing them that vulnerability again.
Yeah.
And like,
oh my God.
How much do we talk into it? How much do we not share?
How much vulnerability do we want?
Yeah, exactly. Like how far is this going to go? You know, all of that's going through your head.
Yeah, and it is so drastically different now than it was back then, right?
Oh, yeah.
So like my first date, right?
Yeah.
And then I know I'm going to have a second last first date, right? That's because that's my story, and I'm writing that shit myself, right? But like it's those two things are so different because like you met Chris two years ago, right? You were turning 29.
Yeah.
You're 31 now, right? I'm 30, and I met Jorge when I was 18 years old. Which
baby
is I was really baby. 18 years old, and like we didn't have a Hinge back then. There was an app called Meetup. Do you know? Or Meet Me, something like that. Oh my God, don't. If you know it, you know. It's not even worthy of being talked about.
Yeah.
Because it's in my head was very much close to like a Tinder. And it was trash. It was trash. You found me on it, but it was trash. But yeah, I met Jorge not on an app. Actually, I met him in college. I went to a junior college, which I am actually pretty proud of that. And I met Jorge my freshman year. So freshman year, biology class, spring semester. I was still 18 years old. I had a dance class right before, so I literally remember getting out of dance class, super sweaty, in my yoga pants, and I'm like running to bio because I'm late.
Yeah.
And I walk in, and I'm so late that I am the only one opening up that door, and the entire class is looking at me. And in my head, I'm like, fuck, this sucks. Everyone's looking at me. Oh, locking eyes with a really attractive brown man. Why does he have that gross rat tail in the back of his head? But I also find that so sexy because I know he's a soccer player, right? That's literally all happening in my head. I'm like, oh, soccer player alert. Alarm. Look at that sexy man, right?
Look at that partner of mine.
But I'm playing it cool, right?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of, because I'm still freaking out that I'm getting into class late. And I find the closest seat next to him. And I sit down, and it just so happened that we were working with partners that day. Wow. I didn't know that. But God, it was a God week.
There you go. The only empty seat left.
Only empty seat left. And it was actually right behind his desk.
Yeah.
So it wasn't right next to him. And I was so late that everyone had a partner, and I was the last one. And you know that, like, it's a horrible feeling.
Yeah.
Especially when in college you don't know a single person.
Yeah.
So now you have to feel like, can I join you?
Can we be friends?
Right? I made it a threesome because he was already with a chick, right?
Oh.
And I needed a group, and everyone was taken. So I was like, hey guys, can I join you? And he's like, oh yeah, absolutely. Pull up a seat. Yes, pretty woman. No, he was doing chill. He's like, oh yeah, definitely. You know, all nice and shit.
A gentleman,
yeah. And I thought that him and that chick had already known each other. Maybe they were anything. So I was just like, I don't know. I was existing.
Yeah.
And
feeling it.
feeling it out, and then he starts talking to me about my indoor soccer shoes that I was wearing. And of course that man's wearing his black Adidas sweatpants, soccer sweats.
There you go.
So we'd start talking about soccer, and we were like really hitting it off, right? And I'm like, oh, this guy's nice. So basically, we had class for the entire semester. So like we didn't initially go on a date. We like really warmed up to each other. So we started sitting next to each other in class, every single class. I would like see him walk into class and I would get so freaking nervous. I'm like, okay, he's coming. Okay, breathe. Oh my God. Don't look at him. Don't look. He can't know I like him. Don't look at him. You know, like the whole, just ignore each other.
But look, don't look.
Look, don't look. Do I look good? Right? Is there something in my teeth right now? You know? And we would get into class and then we would start like playing games together. So like, we would be doing our work and like he would, one day we did a test. And he's like, okay, so before we started the test, he's like, okay, so if I beat you in this test, you have to go on a date with me. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, I don't know if I want to go on a date with him. And I can't have the same thing. So I was like, but if I win and I beat, you know, on this test and get a better grade, then you have to buy me goldfish, right? It was something stupid. He ended up winning because he was honestly really
Genius.
smart. Yeah, he was a really smart guy. And I had no chance. So yeah, he won. And then I agreed that I would go on a date with him.
Aww.
And he picked me up at Papa Dan's house, actually. And I was like, don't knock on the door. I don't want my papa to see you. Like, so like he told me to and I just like sneaked out of the house.
Oh my gosh.
And then, back in the day, you're wearing those tight, skinny jeans, right? And I had like this really flowy top that was like cut off right here. So it showed like, it was sexy. It showed my shoulder, right? Oh, it was right? I was like, oh, guys know this. If you see like a shoulder, like any skin, you're like,
collarbone.
Yes, that collar. I want to eat that collarbone. Anyways, it had the shoulder off of it. It had a big old like cheetah on it.
What year was this?
That looks like it's back in the day.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I hate animal print, but I was wearing it because I looked hot in it, right?
Good in it, yeah.
I looked good. So we went to, I think it's called JK Mongolian or something.
Yeah.
In Modesto, and I had never been to a place like that. It was really cool where they like make the food in front of you. We sit down, big old bowl, and I'm so nervous. I'm like, I can't eat in front of a man. I'm an 18-year-old Mariah's like, but I don't want this noodle to fly all over my face.
Chicken everywhere, cheese everywhere.
Right? I'm like, damn, I gotta like look like a woman. So I like barely ate anything in. Like I was so hungry, but I was like, I can't look ridiculous. And then like, how do you talk and eat at the same time? Like when you're first learning a date and you have to eat, it's like so like uncomfortable.
Oh yeah.
Especially, I don't know, for a woman. I feel like that's the case.
Well, also like when you're 18, you're really
self-conscious.
Self-conscious.
Yeah.
You know, about like how am I looking? How much do I actually eat? You know.
Yeah, totally.
Exactly.
Totally. Plus, I'm really messy. If you see me eat, it's like noodles in my hair. Like, like an hour later, you're like pulling shit out. Like, Mariah, did you not see this? True story. It's happened. So yeah, we eat, and then he takes me to go get yogurt meal.
The best.
Right, seriously. And which is also a cute date. Also wasn't my first time going on a date to yogurt meal, but it was my last time. You know, at that point it's like 8:00 at night, but we didn't want to end the date. We were like so enjoying each other. So he's like, hey, why don't we go to Sand State and walk around? And we were from MJC at the time. So I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So we park at Sand State and we're walking around and it's dark at this point. We're going over the bridge. The lights are pretty, right? And we're looking at like the fish in the water. Aww. And then he looks at me. He's like, can I kiss you? And I was like, yeah. Sure.
Aww.
Let me just...
So cute. Let me get my lip gloss back on.
And he plants like a beautiful fat kiss on me, right?
Aww. And
then he's like, do you want to be my girlfriend? And I said, no.
Fucking Mariah. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Break that man's heart.
Yeah, no, he had to fight so hard for it. I said no, but like I explained, like I just needed a little more time, right?
Yeah.
And honestly, at that time, I wasn't ready to like lock in.
Because you're 18.
I was 18 and I literally like I didn't have like any dating really experience until I graduated high school, moved here and gone to college. So that wasn't even a full year. That was literally one semester of like talking to boys for the first time.
Yeah.
You know? And then here comes Jorge like, let me lock you in.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to be locked in right now, fool. Like there's a lot of you here. I just want to sample a couple. Can I just sample a couple? You know?
He was like, no, you don't get to sample.
Like, no, you don't. I was like, but I.
When he knew.
Yeah, he knew so fast. And I take time.
Yeah.
I take a lot of time. Yeah. So, thankfully, he wasn't like a total asshole about it. I'd be like, fuck you. Like,
just drop you off.
Drop you off now. We're done. We talked and like we really enjoyed each other, and the date didn't end. And we went back to the car and we talked for hours in the car. And we made out. We talked, then we made out for hours in the car, like hours, Liana.
Aww.
And then next thing we knew, it was 4 a.m.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, still inside San State. I'm still on top of him. Clothes are on. Right. I wanted to sample them in, but I wasn't taste testing really. Like I was just
no relationship yet.
Yeah. I was a good girl, but learning boundaries, you know. But yeah, it was 4 a.m. and we were like, oh shit, this is gonna be Monday. And so he's like, I have a tax appointment at 8 o'clock. So that's the only reason why I ended up getting dropped off. He went home, woke up. He tells me that he had massive hickeys all over his neck. His mom saw them immediately, and she's like, pinche burro, like, that means like fucking dumbass. Like, he's like, I put a scarf around my neck, right? Mexican man with a scarf. That's not how it works.
No.
But it was so funny, and of course, like, I'm like, oh my god, your mom must think I'm like a hoe. Like, I date one, and you have hickeys all over your body, you know.
Taking advantage of my son.
Right, taking advantage of her baby boy.
Yeah.
I was a sweet angel in that scenario, by the way. Yeah, it was just like a really great experience, but I was so nervous. Yeah.
First dates are so fun. When I'm listening to that, it tells me that time goes by so fast, and you know, when it's a good first date, you don't think about it. And I like, for my first date, it was the same thing. Like, it just, hours just flew by. Yeah. Great conversations, laughed about things, kissed, you know, that's just so fun. First dates.
It really is. And like, not just first date, like we're not going to talk about like a bunch of dates after that right now, but dates in general are like that. Like, when you meet someone that you're like really vibing with and really enjoy, like, the time just goes by so fast. Yeah. Like the date, I just went on another date, right? Same person, and we were together for, it was like, oh my god, it was a lot. It was like not 20 hours, it was close. It was like 15, the whole day. 16 hours of just straight being together, and it still wasn't enough. It was like so enjoyable. Yeah.
I think that's really interesting, because no matter like what the dates are, the chemistry and the conversation, that when those click, you just want to be able to share with someone, you know, conversations and highs and lows, and, you know, just being interested in another person's life. Like, what's happening in your life? Tell me more.
Or just like being present with them, like just being in that space with that person. Like, you don't even have to really be talking about anything like crazy. Like, just, but being in their presence, I think, is just nice.
Yeah. And I think that's why also how I knew Chris was my person based on that first date. Yeah. Because
But did you?
That's true.
Let's correction.
But no, it's like being, you know, allowing all those time to come by, or, you know, it's so easy for us to go on a date and cut it off. Be like, oh no, you know, that's it. Have a good night. Well, one dinner done. Right. You know, but to allow it to have the time and realizing this is someone I can actually talk to, and this is someone where I can share things and I feel safe and enough to be okay, and just the jitter and excitement of I get to share with another person like my life, or what I'm thinking about, or how I'm feeling in this moment.
Yeah.
I think that's really cool to be able to have those kind of experiences.
Yeah, I do. And they're way better than the ones where you're like, fuck, can this be
Oh
done
my
right
God.
now? Like
those days. Has it only
like,
been 5 minutes?
Like, are you fucking, can I text Leona to get out of this right now? Like,
oh yeah. At one point, sometimes some of those dates were first dates. I would tell my sister, like, you need to fucking call me. Excuse me, I'm gonna go use the restroom. Text someone, call me in like 5 minutes.
Oh my God.
You know, it's because, again, not the chemistry was there or the conversation wasn't there.
Yeah.
And if you know like you're meant to be out of there, then get yourself out.
I guess that's true. I've never been one to just like walk away and be like, you know what, this isn't for me. But I think it has to be pretty bad for it to be like that. But on the flip end, if I'm really digging you, I will stay as late as we are both cool with, because I enjoy you, right?
Yeah.
Otherwise,
anybody would.
I am out the moment it is
done.
Dinner's
over. We're done.
Okay, no dessert. Check. All right.
Oh yeah, the dessert thing.
My son needs me right now.
Oh yeah. Pulling those cards.
Oh, you know what? I gotta pick up my son. Sorry. Yeah.
Mine was like, oh, really early morning tomorrow. I got things to do.
Yeah. So that was my first date 12 years ago.
Gosh.
Yeah, 12 years ago. And then we're moving 12 years forward into dating again.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm on a different planet.
Welcome to online dating. Welcome to the 21st century.
The 21st century of dating. Yeah.
It fucking sucks.
Y'all had it hard. I think you had. Currently like, I'm like, damn, this is nuts.
Yeah,
it's insane.
It is. It's a lot more challenging than people have. You know, you hear stories like, oh, you did find someone, but like, you just don't. But you don't, really.
Well, you found one.
Okay, but after years of being on it, deleting it, on it, deleting it. Like,
it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
But the one example I want to give in this episode, or one experience that I had, was, you know, we're talking about these first dates that we had with our people, right? My late husband, your future husband, right? Chris, get the fuck on that, by the way. Damn. Anyways, but now I'm going on first dates again, and it took a process to get to that point. So, and I feel like I am going to address this piece. There is a cultural feeling or understanding that people have on like when someone should move on from the loss of a husband. Everyone has that. You all have that. I had it. And then I went through it, and I went through everything that is either transparent to you guys or things that I have never spoken to anyone else about besides Leona. And it became my story, my life. And
we worked through that.
I worked a long time intentionally to get me into a space where I was okay to go on my first date ever after the loss.
Oh yeah. Being that vulnerable and being like just your head and physical body into another space like that. Yeah. We had so many conversations like, what is that going to look like? And can you trust yourself to, you know, be okay in that moment? Yeah, and not like just fucking break down
lose your shit in front of a person who doesn't really know you. Yeah. It's a whole thing. So we're gonna talk about that, and we're gonna talk about the date. Yeah. So this person I did not find on Hinge. I was not on Hinge yet. I wasn't on the apps yet. I was just in my life talking to God, talking to Leona, talking to my therapist, saying like, I'm ready to dip my toe in. And I randomly went up to Yosemite for a work thing to partner with a group up there. And, you know, I usually work with they're all older women or older people. And I was not expecting a gorgeous ass, hot, tall, beefed up, genuine sweet man, to be there, who had a pretty much like very similar job to what I had. And of course, we all hop in the same car to drive up to Yosemite, and like I'm in the back, just him and I, and then our bosses are in the front. And we have like 45 minutes there to talk, 45 minutes back to talk, right? And on the way back, we realized that we were both rock climbers. And I had never met anyone who had rock climbed before. So I was like, what? How is this really hot dude right now? A rock climber? What's going on? There was a lot of chemistry. And essentially, we ended up connecting and sharing contact info. And then we arranged a time for me to actually go up to Yosemite to rock climb with him. With that said, I had never rock climbed outdoors before, ever in my life. And when we threw this idea out to our rock climbing friends, all of our friends, all the women were like, the fuck, you're not doing that?
Oh my God.
You don't know this man. Rock climbing, you're trusting him with your life, right? You've never been outdoor climbing. Yosemite is not an easy place to climb.
Yeah.
The entire thing is sandbagged, which means that like the grade, how hard or how easy it says it is, it's all bullshit and a lie, and you don't know until you're on it.
Hanging from your
life, and it's no easy thing. They don't have easy routes; they're only hard routes. So everyone we talked to was like, "No, don't do that. Absolutely not. You're fucking delusional. That's crazy." Yeah. And I'm still like, "Oh, but in my head, I'm like, oh, but I want this."
Yeah, I think I can do it.
So let me figure out how to do this safely. So we talked a lot. Anyways, the week leading up to it, I started to have like severe anxiety. Like I was not myself. I was getting really triggered. I was like so freaked out by the thought that I was about to go on a date. Yeah. I couldn't sleep. I was struggling, and I ended up messaging him. I'm like, hey, can you just, what is this? I was like, is this a date? What are we doing? Like, what's going on? And I don't love that I did it, but at the same time, I needed to do that. Yeah. And then he's like, oh, we can fill it out, right? And I was like, duh, that's what we're doing. I know that. But it helped me to then label it as, this isn't a date. Yeah. Was it a date? Yeah, it totally was. But in my head, I had to lie and say, this isn't a date. I'm just going up to have a good experience. Yes. And I was able to calm me down, and I woke up at like 5 a.m, got ready, and
we overpacked her.
Oh God, yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I was like, Liana, what do I wear right now? I don't know. And she like decked me out, from the sunglasses to the 2 different North Face jackets to the different clothes to the multiple pairs of shoes, because I had to switch them out. It was overpacked and too much. It wasn't even like to them showing who I was. I'm a very casual person, actually. Did not show that. And I ended up driving up in my Charger anyway. So this folding's on fucking bougie and not granola at all. Which I'm not granola, but I'm more granola than I am bougie. Yeah. And this is a granola man. Yeah. So anyways, I get up there, meet him at his house. As I'm driving up, I'm freaking the fuck out. Yeah. And I have to strategically find songs that hyped me up, and I'm literally talking myself through it and telling myself, I'm gonna be okay. This is a good experience. You need this. Like, this is a small step forward. You got this. I'm gonna be okay. Yeah. So we end up getting in the car, and then we get there and we decide to do a hike. And unfortunately, I had actually pretty severe cold that year. I couldn't get healthy at all. Like my sinuses, like everything, I just couldn't breathe. And so for some reason, I thought it was a brilliant idea to go up to a crazy high elevation, do a crazy amount of hiking, and then rock climb. With someone who was already used to that elevation. And the physical aspect of it. And so we're doing this hike, and I genuinely cannot breathe, and I'm trying not to hawk up a loogie in front of this hot ass man, and I'm barely surviving. And we finally make it up after like 20 stops, and I sound disgusting. And we are at the top of, I think it's like a Misty Falls or something. And we're looking across all of Yosemite, and it's this gorgeous, beautiful, breathtaking moment. And we're sitting on this rock just by ourselves. No one's around us. And it's me and this hot dude just admiring God's beautiful work. And it should have been like the most romantic thing ever. But I wasn't in a space for that. I was just in a space to be present and that the experience of being there with a man. But in no way was I like, oh, let me test the waters here. No. And that was clear in like my behavior and how I talked, and like I didn't share anything with him. He didn't know I had a kid. He didn't know that I was previously married. He didn't know that my husband passed away. And I navigated the entire conversation to make sure that I didn't bring any of that up because I wasn't ready. I didn't want to have that conversation. I just wanted to exist, be present, and leave that part of my life, you know, in my car, locked away somewhere safe, that wasn't going to be touched by this individual, but that I can just like be Mariah. Like, could he get to know Mariah without that? And then I realized after that date, no, you can't get to know Mariah without that, right? Because the Mariah he got she wasn't a stable Mariah. She was high anxiety Mariah who was living life really in fear, honestly. I was trying so hard not to, but when it came to dating and trying to go towards that aspect, that was just encompassed in fear. And so, you know, we're having a good conversation. It was a beautiful conversation. And then we realized, oh, it stopped snowing, which means we can go climb if we wanted to. So the first time ever, I do a multi-pitch, which is nuts for it being my first time first time climbing outdoors. You might do one route, but you're not going to do multiple routes on top of each other, especially when you first met that person and are trusting them with your
higher
life.
and higher.
I know. I'm sorry for any of my family who's like, what the fuck, Mariah? Hey, I'm still here. We good.
Great experience.
And basically, like, he climbs up this thing, sets up the rope, does all of it. And I'm over here barely just learned how to lead belay.
Oh my God.
And he's going, and I'm like I'm down below, like trying not to freak out, like, fuck. What if he drops right now? I would have caught him, but I was still so new that I didn't have confidence in myself, right? So he sets it up, we switch, it's my turn to go up. And at first I'm like, there's no way I can finish this. Like the first part was the crux, Liana. And it was a 5'10" crux. Which means it's 5'10s are hard outdoors. And then the crux is the hardest part. So that's the hard. And so I'm literally hanging there looking like a fucking idiot, struggling, not getting up there, just, you know, and I look at him, I'm like, next time we climb, like, maybe let's not crack climb. He's all, there's nothing else to do in Yosemite. And I'm like, fuck, okay. So that told me I have to do this or this is done. And you also look like a fucking wuss.
That your head is telling you.
That's what my head's telling me. I'm not gonna fucking back down right now. Not on a date with this gorgeous man looking at me. Hell no. So I basically learned how to crack climb in 5 minutes, and then I did 2 whole pitches of that. And I remember getting to the top of the second pitch, and there's like this platform ledge that you can stand on. This is granite, by the way. When I say we're climbing Yosemite walls, granite walls. And so I get to the top of the second pitch, which is gorgeously high. And I stand on like this ledge, and I turn around for the first time because I've been facing the wall the whole time. I turn around and I'm above the treetops. Like I am above all of the fucking trees in Yosemite Valley. I am looking across Yosemite Valley, and it's just me and myself and God. And it was the most holy fucking experience of my life. It was the most beautiful thing, and I was like, why didn't I bring my phone up here for a photo? I was like, damn. But at the time, it was incredible. And at the time, we were in the process of losing my mother-in-law. She passed away, like, honestly, like a few weeks later. And so, like, I was working through that, and so, like, being up there, knowing what's happening with my mother-in-law, knowing, you know, the grief of everything with Jorge, of being there on, like, a first date, and it was this emotional, beautiful, it is on the list of one of the top things, best experiences of my life. Like, it's birthing Leo and being a mother, right? Marrying Jorge, somewhere around there is wow, rock climbing and that moment. And that's what it set it off for me, was incredible. And then we end up going to end the date at the Yosemite like eating area, and we grab food. And then he asked me the question that I was so afraid people were going to ask me, which was, so why'd you get into rock climbing? Because in my head, I'm like, well, I got rock climbing because my husband died and I needed an outlet to get through that grief. And I couldn't tell him that. And all I said was, you know what, I lost someone who was really important to me. They died. And rock climbing became this really, this thing that really helped me through it. And he respected it and let it be, and connected in a way that he had lost. But I didn't tell him. And to this day, because we still will communicate, but for work, not personally.
Yeah.
Your cat food. He still doesn't know. But I was so glad that I went on that date, because it was the first time, like, I needed to know that I was going to be safe venturing into that. And he showed me I was safe. He was the perfect person to go on a date with for the first time after losing Jorge. Like, he was perfect, and I have so much respect for him. Because when he taught me, God, there are really hot men out there and still available. Wow, this guy is hot, right? Yeah. But you can also be hot and incredibly genuine and good and like love God, right? But also he didn't push anything. I was so afraid. I remember telling him, like, what if he kisses me? Like, what if this guy tries to kiss me when I leave? Like, boom. What the fuck? I was like, I am not ready. I was like, I don't want to kiss anybody, And then you're like, don't kiss him.
Don't kiss him. Back up. Say,
Yeah. Or
put up the boundary.
You were also like, but if you want to.
Yeah. And I think, that first date, what an incredible way to be introduced to dating again, you know? Because I remember when you were so fucking nervous at the whole week leading up to it, like, is this a good idea? All of that. And then the magnitude of that experience that allowed you to say, no, like, I do deserve this. I do deserve, being loved again or having this experience. And wow, all anyone could ever feel is proud that you are putting yourself out there and trying again. Because so often people are like, that was it. That was my one love, and that was it. That's all I deserve. That's all I earn. But no, you're so much bigger than that. Your heart's so much more important than that. Yeah, it is. And you're right. Like, he was definitely the right person to do that. I was freaking out the entire day. I was looking at her location. I'm like, fuck, where's she going? Making sure. Because I remember we were like, okay, we needed to get our shit down, making sure you're safety-wise, sharing location, like, timeline, text me every time. You're like, I'm okay. That was all our key thing.
And I had service the entire time. So, like, I made it sound like it was crazy unsafe. Not entirely wrong there.
Yeah. Physically,
Yeah, but we also did a lot of things to make sure that, like, I was going to be safe, both because this man knew everything about Yosemite, and if he wanted to and was psychotic, he could have murdered me anywhere and left and hid me very well. Right?
No one would have known.
Exactly. But I'm not supporting my case here. But in regards to climbing, I wouldn't have climbed with him if I did not trust my skills and know what to look for when he was showing me his skills prior to getting on a wall. Absolutely. And also, you're always going to go on a first date with someone you don't know. There's only so much you can do. Right? You can't, like, you're still going to put yourself in that person's presence. Right?
You can't control everything.
Yeah, you can't control everything, but you can take measures to keep you safe.
Yeah.
But, it was an incredible experience, and I think for most people, like, people would be like, oh, that was the best date of my life. I'm in love. And I was like, oh, I love Yosemite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you rock outdoor climbing?
Yosemite. Not the man, although he's widely just so attractive. Did I mention that? Yeah. We're just not.
Yeah. But I think the whole point of this is first dates is putting yourself in a position that you are ready to be accepted. You putting yourself out there, healing yourself, doing the work, and realizing that I'm ready for it. You know, I think that you had spent months, you know, having this anxiety and this feeling like, what if I have to do that again? What is that going to feel like?
Yeah.
And all of your family and friends who were ready and privy to this information were like, you're going to be okay. You're going to be safe. You know what to do. You have taken measures. It cannot be anything worse than what you have already gone through, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that first date out to Yosemite, God was like, no, I'm going to show you how amazing it is out there to date again. I'm going to show you that there's possibilities, that that wasn't your end all be all. There's more out there for you.
I agree. And it was crazy enough. It's almost like the 1 year mark of that date. And to see the massive difference in my comfortability, in my healing, in my growth from then to now is huge, right? Because I was just on a date and he's like, so how do you, like, he asked a question of like, so how do you measure your healing? Like, how do you know that? And my therapist is like, you don't measure healing. It's not possible. Right? But that's a normal question, especially for someone who's very analytic. Yeah. And my response was like, well, I know how I felt on my very, very first date. And I assess and I really process every single thing after that. Every date, every time I meet someone, every new experience. And like to be the version that was like sitting in front of him, right? To be this version right now. Those are two very different people. Yeah. And one is like so much more healed and content, and I can talk about things, and I don't feel like I have to hide about anything. You know, I'm doing a freaking podcast now, right? That's a little funky to date and then also share everything publicly. But I needed that first date, regardless of whether I did it then or a year later or 5 years later or 6 months after he passed away, like regardless of that timeline, there's no fixed timeline. It's all dependent on that person and where they're at and their emotional needs and how far they've worked on themselves and healed and all of those things. So
for your story, it was a beautiful timeline.
It's beautiful.
Like if you're going to put time-wise on it, you have done the healing. You were working on it and you're ready. And like, I thought when you came back and you shared it with me, I was like, wow, that's incredible. What a way to like dip your toe into this next phase of your life. And to have been able to experience outdoor climbing, like associating the one element that was like grounding you and keeping you to becoming Mariah and putting that as a first date. I was like, whoa, it was like that was meant to be.
It was. Yeah, I dipped my toe in then. I am fully dipped now. But more to come next episode.
So end of this episode. Take the risk.
Take the risk. Cheers to first dates.
First dates.
Even if you're never having a first date again, treat every day like a first date with your baby.
Yes. Good one. Cheers. Yeah. Thanks for tuning into Courage on the Rocks.
Until next time, hold on to your courage and we'll see you soon. Cheers.